Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Gustafon here, and as it seemed to be becoming a little bit of a Carthage one trick on YouTube, here's another Carthage video for you. So we're trying something just a little bit different with the video this time. I'm showing you what Carthage looks like, the final development of our capital, and this is the last turn of this era. So we've got a beautiful Carthage here with, a bunch of wonders in it, some really high yields for Carthage. This is by far and away the highest culture I've ever gotten on Carthage, and we got the mini map covered so that we don't spoil too much for you. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into explaining the motivation for the build, and then we'll get into the video. So, we're going to be playing Himiko, Queen of Wa, and looking at her abilities, we don't really care that much about her Friend of Way ability. Like, it's nice, but we're not really going to be prioritizing it. +4 science per age per leader you're friendly or helpful with is excellent, because Carthage loves outside sources of science, since it can only build one library, one academy, so on and so forth. So this is really gonna help with our science problem. And then can support endeavors for free is great, because that means that first of all, it matches up well with wanting to play Merchant's Saddle and scout really far really early, because that lets you meet leaders pretty early, so you are more likely to receive their diplomatic actions. And it's also going to help us maintain this friendly and helpful status, which also means that we're going to be better trade partners with people. So, contrary to the other Carthage games that I've played before, we're going to try to play a very peaceful Carthage. And to do that, the mementos we're using are Merchant's Saddle. I've proselytized this one enough at this point. The movement speed on settlers, scouts, and merchants is amazing for Carthage. It's everything you want to be doing. And then we're taking a cultural attribute point, because our culture is going to be kind of weak throughout the age, but that's also going to be hugely beneficial for us when we get to the exploration age. I find that I really like having a culture point in the culture tree before going to that age. So here's the seed for the game if you want to play along in all of the settings. We're going with just continents instead of continents plus, and this is also with the 1.1 update now. So this is the update where the Numidian cavalry have gone from being unstoppable kill machines down to being still very good, but like they compete with other units now. They don't run other units over. So your military transition at the wheel is not nearly as powerful. So the builds that I used and showed before that heavily prioritized Russian wheel, I think, are not as strong as they were. So you can still probably pull it off, but you're not gonna capture a city with 2 Numidian cavalry the way that I've been doing with the pre 1.1 version. So, all right, let's look at our spawn. Love this spawn. We've got we're close enough to a lake that we're going to be able to build a Punic port. We've got a mountain here for monument adjacency. We've got a good library tile here, and we should be able to max out all of these tiles to max out the palace adjacency bonus. So we're super happy with this settle. We're also getting some sheep out of it, which is pretty cool. We're going to do a very, if you've watched any of my other videos, this is something you've seen before. We're going to build 3 scouts, and then we're going to pay a lot of attention to scouting as far and wide as we can, with an emphasis on keeping our scouts alive. And it's we're going to be scouting slightly different than I have in the past. Let's see. I see camp, I see pasture, and I see woodcutters, so we're going to go animal husbandry first. I don't think it's as important to open sailing with Himiko, because we aren't as interested in forward settling early. Like, we will be going... Ooh. Well, I think we found where our second settlement is going to be. We are definitely settling that. Okay. So what was I talking about before I got distracted by it? I am such an Isabella player. I feel like, and I know a lot of people are Isabella players and love that, but that leader speaks to me personally. I'm like, thank you for Axis for adding the leader that I want to play every single time. Oh man, I'm such a natural wonder junkie. It's the worst. It's not the worst. I love the tiles. This one is particularly good too. We get really good yields on picking it up early, and then bonuses. Ooh, that's extra culture too. So I think that kind of means we want to prioritize settling on this river, actually, so that we can have as many tiles getting damaged by floods as possible. So this might actually be we might actually go fishing second, just because we're really interested in having our fishing boats on the navigable river to be damaged by floods. I don't know. I don't know if Viren requires you to have improved the tile that gained fertility, or if it just requires the tile to be in your empire. So maybe maybe I don't even actually need fishing boats to take advantage of it. But either way, we're not unhappy to build into fishing. And this settle is kind of fire, though. We get a lake, we get cotton, we get to pick up the silver that Carthage is going to miss. We are going to have to wait. It's a shame that Carthage doesn't reach this cotton, because we want to settle on that cotton, and we want to get it early because cotton is just the best early game resource, but we also don't want to steal tiles from Carthage, from the capital, so. We got kind of a weird spawn pinched between a lake and a coast here. I think this is... I'm not 100% sure, but I think this might actually be a Carthage god spawn. Like, I can't claim to understand the game or the Civ well enough yet to... Oh, you know what? And we've also lost 9 turns of culture because I forgot to spend my culture attribute point. Whatever. So, our... you know what? I think I'm going to very quickly get to the point that I'm... Oh, and I missed the hut there because I'm thinking instead of talking. Okay, so we're going to explain the strategy and then we'll wrap up until, I don't know, turn 20, 25, something like that. So we're going for the standard kind of merchant rush build. Merchants are great because we should have good relations with our neighbors. We should be able to trade really far, and we're going to get a lot of benefits out of trade routes, like normal as Carthage. And that's kind of the goal. We are still going to be settling, but not quite with the velocity that we were settling with Ibn Battuta or Isabella. And we're also going to try to explicitly avoid forward settling people. We want to settle close enough to eventually trade with them, but we want to make sure that we're at least 11 tiles away from the capitals of any enemies that we run into. So. Anyway, that's what we're doing for now. We're working towards merchants, and we're trying to get our first couple of settles in like close resource-rich locations as we scout out future trade partners. So, anyway, I will see you guys soon. Welcome back, y'all. We're here at turn 19, which is earlier than I planned on stopping in, but we've got I think we've got an interesting turn, and we've got some developments on the map that are worth talking about. So, it's probably right to take the gold here, but I kind of want the culture. I like mysticism, because I think priesthood is really good, and we're actually, so my plan at first was just to build one round of settlers and then develop for a little bit, but we've discovered land that's changed my mind. So first of all, in the early game, we're saving influence because we want to friendly greet every leader we meet, because ideally we want them to start sending us, diplomatic endeavors. So we're even going to use some influence to send Ashoka some science here, because we would really, really like to get on his good side. Especially because I don't think the AI actually care about this, but I did just kind of steal a goodie hut from him, so... Oops. Alright, we'll go ahead and grab the gold from that. Okay, so we met Ashoka, and that's the first thing I wanted to talk about, was just trying to be friendly with everybody. You really want the AI to start giving you diplomatic endeavors, and once they start doing that, you start snowballing. So, the other thing we need to talk about is the land that I've found. So, this is absolutely a god spawn. But, like, what a map. You know, started off, we found Viren immediately to the right for the first settle. So we look around a little bit more, and wow, look at this cluster of silk, gold, dye, fish, sheep. So this is going to be an insane little resource town. It's a kind of a bummer that we don't pick up the silver, but that's whatever. So we scroll around a little bit more, and what's this? Is this the Great Barrier Reef that's also in our territory? So, because of all that, we've decided that instead of continuing to develop, and I think we've even got a granary like half-built right now or something. Yeah, we do. We have a granary half-built. We just switched to colonist once we saw the once I saw the Great Barrier Reef, because it's like, look, I can't. It's a Great Barrier Reef with cotton. I mean, come on. I'm only human. I can't. Oh. So anyway, we're gonna scout this out a little bit more. But so we've got a settlement happening right here in a turn or two. We've got a colonist moving out to settle on the Viren Wonder. Hopefully that scout vacates the spot. Gosh, as an aside, I am so happy in this game that random barbarian scouts can't just take your settlers. It's I played 1 or 2 games of Civ 6, and like while Civ 6 is very clearly a much more polished game, and the UI is a lot better, I'm super happy to be playing 7. Like, and not to say that 6 is bad or worse. It's just 7 is a style that meshes much more with me and the way that I enjoy the game. So it's still just going towards merchant here. So we've got the Viren settle, we've got Carthage, we've got our just insane resource settle here. The silk isn't insane early, but gold is better than average for Carthage because you're buying a lot of buildings throughout the course of the game. Fish and dyes are both excellent for Carthage because you'll have a lot of small population towns where fish are good, and then we're going to be abusing the settlement limit, so having a resource that gives happiness is good. And then wool is also... This one is a little bit less good just because of the layout, because ideally, we're probably going to expand to the dyes and the fish immediately, and then expand towards this cluster of resources. So wool is good, but it doesn't really make sense for us to expand to it early, so we're probably not going to. And then we need to scout this out, so let's go ahead and... unfortunately, we are going to need a little bit of military if we want to take that settle. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to... let's get some slingers in the queue and set them ahead of the colonist so that we can reasonably threaten that camp. And hopefully we can get like a warrior or something from a narrative event. Let's see, Pantheon is still really like Sacred Waters here. There's a much stronger than usual reason to go with either God of the Sun or Goddess of Festivals is always already taken. But we're gonna have a big culture problem just because we don't have any bonuses towards culture in our hero or our civilization, so I think that actually makes the culture altars better than normal. Sacred Waters is still very good since we're coastal settling, and especially because I want to jump up to 5 settlements pretty early. I think we are going to go with Sacred Waters just to maintain our empire despite having no interest in respecting the settlement limit. So hopefully we have enough money to buy a unit. I don't know how much galleys cost, but we might be happy to have a galley to sail around and pick up. Though I haven't actually scouted the southern tip. I don't know if this is actually passable. Also, I see what looks like a little small island, so we probably want to settle down here too, because these tend to be adjacency monsters in the exploration age, so it'll be nice to have an early settled town there that gets to a nice and high population before we get to exploration. Let's see. Let's go for culture. We're definitely not building wonders anytime soon. We're going to throw in priesthood, because that is very quickly... Next turn it's going to jump to 6 gold, and we're still trying to settle. And, yeah, so that's, we're taking a little bit of a detour because our land is just insane. So we're going to try to, expand as fast as possible to settle all of this insane land. But after that, we're still using our influence primarily to, we've still got this scout that's looking to meet as many other civilizations as possible, and we're still using our influence on diplomacy and trying to get them to like us so that they'll send us diplomatic endeavors. So, yeah, I think that's all for now. I'll go ahead and pan over the glorious spawn that we got just one more time. This is the game knows I'm an Isabella player. It gave me an Isabella spawn. This is... Oh, it's beautiful. Okay. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see y'all soon. Welcome back, y'all. We are loading in here at the beginning of turn 30, and we've had a couple of good things happen. We've met the last couple civilizations. We've got, I think at the last time we checked in, I'd only met Ashoka, but now we've also met Rome, we've met Ada Lovelace, and we've met Xerxes. So all 3 of these leaders have culture diplomatic actions. So if we can get them to start sending their endeavors towards us, we're actually just not going to have a culture problem at all this game, which is awesome. Furthermore, we got the friendly greeting on everybody, obviously, but both Ada and Rome share, or Ada and Augustus share government types with us, and they're actually the 2 most important ones for us to ally as well. Ada, because we just love, she sends culture and scientific endeavors, we want both of those every time. And then, I can't remember exactly what the rewards are, but you actually get something, you get like a decent little reward for allying with Rome as a Carthage. There's like a narrative event that gives you something cool, so... We're pretty happy to see both of them allied with us. The only thing that's gone slightly wrong so far, I didn't notice it, but apparently we forward settled Ashoka, which The only, based on what we've revealed, it had to have been Hippo, and that has to mean that Ashoka is like right in, like, we barely didn't discover Ashoka's land, is what's got to be the case. So, because that's the only possible forward settle. Now, we do have a bit of a sticky situation here, as Rome is, yeah, Rome is actually positioned such that we have to forward settle Rome a little bit if we want the Great Barrier Reef. So, as much as my Isabella brain has an impossibly difficult time passing up on the Great Barrier Reef, we might actually not go for it. The best settlement that we'd be getting on it is like this tile right here, which gives us cotton, it gives us 3 of the Great Barrier Reef tiles, it gives us gold, and it gives us iron. But that's not the best settlement I've ever seen. I don't know if it's worth upsetting Rome by forward settling them, and I honestly think we might end up being better off going a little bit further north to avoid forward settling, but also to start building towards, maybe ideally I think we want to end up settling this lake to be able to trade to Ada and to trade to Xerxes. So that might actually be what we do with our next settler. Our next settler might be heading up to settle this lake, and then we'll kind of fill in settlements along this coastline after we get that. We are, so we've got a settler that we're sending coastally to settle over here. We're still really interested in getting this tile for exploration, but pull up the settler lens again. The only freshwater nearby is this, which is just not a good settlement. It's between 2 friendly independents, which we are Suzing as our 2 right now, but we're probably going to have to clear out Rajagriha. So I wish I had scouted this a little bit better. Like, I chose to scout north along this coast, just because it was towards the Great Barrier Reef, and I wanted to see what was going on. What a cool map spawn, by the way. Gosh, like, if I was anybody but peaceful Himiko right now, I would love to aggressively settle this Great Barrier Reef and then fight with Augustus over it. That just seems like such a cool game to play. But alas, we're giving peace a chance this time. This is Carthage. I don't know why I'm looking at my capital city. Like, what's going on here? What are we even doing with this city? So we're gonna grab this tile just to allow Hippo to continue to grow without stealing too many more tiles from Carthage. So far we've stolen 1 navigable river, which doesn't matter, and 1 flat desert. We might end up stealing 1 more navigable river, but only stealing 3 tiles for a settlement as good as Hippo, which we settled this tile specifically because if we settled here, basically because this is an excellent Punic port and we can connect it to it via fishing key here, is why we settled that exact location. So we've also got a settler here in the army commander that I don't know. This might end up being the one that goes all the way up to the lake, or maybe this settler drops in an intermediate location, because we can grab like cotton, horses, gold, and then let's see. If we settle right here, we also get to pick up gypsum and... Yeah, so this might be... No, this is the settle we want, but that's not fresh. So maybe this is the settle we want, right here, because that picks up... it grabs gypsum, it grabs horses, it grabs gold, it grabs marble, it grabs wool. So this is probably the settle we want, honestly. And once we get our commander a little bit closer. We are in a little bit of a sticky situation, as we are hoping not to kill Izartu here, since we're Suzing them, but we can't just let this raiding party get to our settlements. So we're going to have to stop and fight here a little bit. Other than that, we're kind of just settling. We're looking at, let's see, this settle should be... It won't be immediately able to trade with Roma, but once we get a little bit of trade range, it'll be able to trade with Roma, and he should be expanding a little bit further this way anyway, which we can eventually trade, so this is going to be a great trade network expansion settlement right here. And then we're also looking to expand this way to get expansions that can trade with... I haven't quite seen the city yet, but I can see the border of Xerxes' territory here, so we want to be able to trade with him. And then this one's going to be a lot harder to achieve, but we want to be able to trade with Ada too. So that's why I was looking at settling this lake, because this lake looks far enough away that I'm not forward settling anybody, but it looks close enough to both Xerxes and Ada that we won't be forward settling them. It could also be interesting to try to convert and incorporate a city-state that's near them. I don't know if that causes forward settling penalties or not, but it wouldn't hurt to figure out. So anyway, that's about where we're at turn 30. We're 12 turns away from Code of Law completing, though honestly the merchant's probably going to be a scout for a little bit, because Ashoka is the only one we can trade for it. So it actually might behoove us to... Yeah, we're actually going to buy an extra scout and start scouting this way to see if we can find Ashoka. But yeah, that's where we are right now. We're focused on getting out settlements and specifically strategically placing settlements so that they are able to build a good Punic port, are able to build a fishing quay so that we can get massive connectedness in our towns, and we're looking at things that extend our trade network towards all of our beautiful trading partners up here. So that's where we're at right now, and I will see y'all in another couple turns. Welcome back, y'all. We're coming in at turn 38, which we just unlocked irrigation this turn exactly, as well as Code of Laws. So we're up one more settlement limit again. We're thinking about we've actually got this colonist just hanging out inside my army commander, largely because I've found it incredibly useful to just have the ability to stay packed with my commander, so you get the benefit of the increased move speed from being packed, plus the mobility promotion, or the mobility. So I actually I'm using this colonist for like a combat support purpose until we've cleared out Rajagriha, but then after that we're probably going to go try to settle this something in this area. I can't remember exactly which tile we picked out as our ideal port settle, but this is going to be a great settle. And it's really, really tempting to go for the Great Barrier Reef, and we could use the science, so, but I really, really don't want to forward settle Augustus, especially because he actually likes us, so, I don't know. Realistically, I'm probably going to end up giving in to Isabella Brain, settling it anyway, and hoping that we can recover the relationship, but I guess we'll just see how that goes. Other than that, let's see, our strategy is still about the same. We're mostly focused on settling, not necessarily forward settling people, but trying to get, and unfortunately we are out of range of everything. Though I think we're not. So there's a trick, and this is something I saw one more turn do. So you can actually, so we're planning on changing all of our towns into trade outposts eventually, but we want to grow to all the resources in the town first. But we can cycle it to trade outpost. We can see if the range actually makes it work for us, and then we can turn it back off. So here you see we're actually going to go to Pudanagala. I have no idea. We're going to go to this town that has camels and sheep first, and then, since we still want Thane to grow, we're immediately going to turn that off, which once the merchant reaches the destination, we'll be able to cycle it to a trade outpost, create the trade route, and then immediately change it back into a growing town without any kind of issue or problem. So that's a neat little trick to get your first couple of trade routes out. And it's actually good to know, too, that we can use influence to trade with Pataliputra as well, which, honestly, since we forward settled him, I kind of want to, I kind of just want to buy my first set of merchants, is what I'm going to do. We'll send one of them to Pataliputra, and then I guess we'll preemptively send the other one to, like, Rome, maybe? Let's see if I can get my hands on the other one. Whatever, we'll do it next turn. But yeah, that's the goal. We're just setting up our trade network right now, so I will, probably cut now, and I will probably catch you guys when I inevitably forward settle the the Great Barrier Reef and screw up all of my plans to be peaceful. But I don't know. We should be able to maintain / recover our relationship with Augustus. It'll mean we lose out on some science from a dip in the relationship, but it should be nothing we are seriously harmed by. Yeah, especially with him just sending us oh, Augustus, so full of the hand motion he does. I don't know. I love the mannerisms of the leaders in this game. Like, some of them look a little bit weird, but it is very appealing to me that the way the leader design in this game are actually like they feel much more like possible people rather than like legendary remembrances of like super important political figures or whatever the case is. So I'm a huge fan of that. Let's see, Ashoka's still sending us stuff. And we even on that one that I accepted local festival, on any other leader, I never support that because I want the influence more than I want the happiness on cities anyway. But we're looking at this purely as a diplomatic thing. Like, the only thing we care about is making more green numbers in this screen so that we can send more traders. And actually, we should let's go ahead and preemptively improve trade relations with him. So, but yeah, that's what we're going to be doing from here. So. I will, I guess, try to be back with you probably, like I said, whenever we inevitably settle the Great Barrier Reef. So, I will catch you guys then. Welcome back, y'all. We're here at the top of turn 55, and a couple things have happened. We finally managed to get the Sioux on Izertu, which we took Megalith from that, just because in general it's a good idea to have ways to turn land into culture as Carthage, so Megalith is a great way of doing that. Xerxes dislikes us, which kind of makes sense. We're absolutely spamming traders right now. If we look at my my build queue real quick, we'll see 4 traders in there, and then yeah, we're making some traders is the moral of that story. And the range on our traders is actually insane right now. You see, we can already trade with Parsa right now, and I think all of our towns are still growing towns. Yeah, so we can already trade with Parsa with no trade outposts up yet, and we also have the ability to turn all of our towns into trade outposts at this point. So we can actually just trade with the entire map. So we're going to go about trying to set up trade routes to every city. The other thing we found is a vanity settle up here with Thera that I might be incapable of resisting. I mentioned Isabella Brain, and it is, let's see, it's probably not going to be a forward settle on Ashoka, but 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Yeah, so we're definitely not forward settling Ashoka if we grab that island. And 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we're not settling her either. So if we can find a piece of settleable land, like either one of these 2 tiles, this looks too far away, or maybe even like this tile, then we might try to settle that. So we're not going to put a huge priority on it because it is actually pretty great. There's a lot of culture from Thera, and we do have a culture problem. And I guess I technically don't actually need this lake settle like I thought I did, because our trade range is just so absurd right now. But the settler for those, like the settler for this town is already in place. We're settling this right now. And this settler is unfortunately just got stopped by a boat, and it might actually end up killing. Hopefully we can recover this settler, but I still think it's too much of a pivot to try to move this settler all the way across the map to grab Thera when it's already in position to grab a not an insane forward settle, but a relatively far forward settle. So I think this is the tile we're looking at, right next to the gold. Yeah, because that's safe from forward settling anybody. So if we grab this tile exactly, we should be fine. Now that we've started to, our empire's got 5 towns in it, which are collecting us a whole lot of resources. We can trade to Rome is the only person. Also, what is up with these yields? Why are those so big? This river must have flooded a couple of times because, wow, wow. Yeah, this river's definitely flooded a bunch. All of these river tiles are insane. Holy cow. All right. So yeah, our culture and science are actually doing surprisingly well because we got a really good set of leaders for giving us culture and science with diplomatic endeavors. So at this point, we're honestly just pushing traders, even to the detriment of our infrastructure right now. With the idea being that I can always buy buildings later. I want to start my getting rich snowball now. So that's the motivation there. But other than that, I think it's pretty much smooth sailing. We're grabbing these 2 more settles. Not even sure about the Stera one. I want it, but it's not really that important for me to get. And then just trying to trade with everybody. We should be able to generate a really good relationship with Rome if we can trade with all 6 of their cities. And we've already got a pretty decent number of trade routes. I really wish there was a way to see your trade routes somewhere, but I'm not. I guess we've got 2 trade caravans, so I know that there's 2 trade routes that are already active and 1 merchant that's still trying to make a trade route, so I guess that's a way to tell. And then we've got the new unit health bars belying how I really feel about this hostile city-state of Assur right now. I'm not very fond of them, as they've been raiding me for a lot of this game. So I think while we're conducting this fight, we're actually just going to leave that zoomed out a little bit so that we accurately display our feelings about that city-state. This, by the way, I think this is my favorite commander loadout overall. And the only bummer about it is that we've spent 4 promotions and we're nowhere near a commendation. And the commendations are really good. But I really do think that maneuver, logistics, and assault are the 3 best single points in the tech tree. So this is kind of like this is what an offensive commander looks like to me, where a defensive commander has bastion points and leadership, basically. Those are my thoughts on that and how I tend to optimize that. We're going to lose this scout for this goody hut, which we normally hate because we really hate losing scouts, but we've explored the whole map at this point. There are little patches of fog here and there that we want to reveal, but we're at the point where we don't need to hold on to our scouts. Xerxes has actually fallen in a relationship a bit with us, which sucks, but it does make sense since his leader agenda is disliking people who have more trade routes than him, and we are trading this game. We do not have any other real plans or visions than trade as much as humanly possible this game. So it's probably going to be a little bit tough to maintain a relationship with Xerxes. But yeah, other than that, we've got what I think so far is a beautiful empire of 2 natural wonders in it. We did go for the forward settle on Great Barrier Reef that I said would be inevitable. Luckily, we have enough reputation with Rome. We would actually, if we hadn't forward settled, I think we would be at like the heart status, which would actually grant us science from our unique bonus. But our science is actually caught up somewhat, and like it would be nice to have more science, but we're not hurting on science by any means right now. So that's where we are. We should be able to relatively smoothly sail this one to victory as we grab our last couple settles and start trading everywhere. And I'll definitely turn it back on if any of the AI decide to war us, but I think it's very unlikely that any of the AI decide to war us, just because we get a little bit of reputation every time we send them an improved trade relations action, and we also get a little bit of reputation when we trade to them. The AI like it when you trade to them. So if we're really able to pump traders the way that I'm envisioning for this version of Carthage, then we should have no problem with keeping all of the AI friendly. So, oh yeah, the scout died that we expected to die. Anyway, that's what's going on right now, and I'd say it's going pretty excellently. And I will see y'all in another 15 or 20 turns or something like that. Maybe, so we're trying to get the Colosseum right now, which I've seen some people rate the Colosseum kind of low. I get it in some cases, because it is only happiness for one settlement. But in Carthage specifically, I think the Colosseum is like absolutely S tier, because at the end of the day, I'm willing to eat an unhappiness penalty for extra settlements on every settlement except Carthage. So if Carthage has like 30 extra happiness on it, that means I can go like 5 or 6 over the settlement cap and not make Carthage unhappy. And that's something that we really, really like as Carthage. So that's kind of our current plan with culture, and we might actually be able to get a decent number of wonder points this game based on our culture being pretty high. We should, depending on what Rome decides to build, which actually maybe we shouldn't be going for the Colosseum with a high culture Rome in the game, but either way, we might be able to reasonably pull off like an Angkor Wat or a Colossus or a Nalanda here. So That's kind of where our head is on the culture. And then on the science, we're just looking for currency at this point, and we're starting to grab all the masteries to grab codices just to try to advance our science. If you've watched my previous videos, you know that I have a tendency to skip most of the masteries, go all the way to mathematics, and then backfill the codices. But I've been thinking about it in a bit, and I'm going to have to sit and do the math one time, but I think you just get through the tech tree faster if you pick up all of the codices as soon as you gain access to them, and have them start generating science for you as soon as possible. So that's, I don't know, I'm going to have to actually, like, thoroughly test it at some point, but that's kind of the logic that I'm going with right now. So, anyway, I will catch y'all soon. Welcome back, y'all. We are here at the start of turn 75, and at this point, the Empire is pretty much on autopilot. We're just SimCity and Carthage right now. We're 4 turns away from completing the Colosseum, which amazingly Rome just hasn't built. Yeah, I guess this has just been focused on other wonders, which suits me just fine because I will take his Colosseum any day. We've got a little bit of a boat problem over here in Sabrotan and Thysdrus, but luckily Sabrotan isn't actually coastal, so it's not threatened by these galleys, and we have a little bit of a naval choke point here that we can use to not necessarily beat this whole army of galleys, but we can certainly hold them off here, which is pretty nice. And we could also upgrade that to a quad if we wanted to just blow out the hostile independent galleys there, but no need to, and we'd rather spend our gold on developing our cities and towns, so that's what we're going to do. Grab the Khoton there. We also, we did manage to get a... I hate that the map does that sometimes. We did manage to get our Thera settle. Somehow Rusticade is unhappy. I'm not sure how that works, so we're probably going to have to buy them an altar. Luckily, so the Thera tiles actually count as coastal, which is pretty cool, meaning that our Khoton gets a little bit of extra adjacency, and also both of these tiles in and these are going to be the only 2 buildable tiles in this town, so this might be a town forever. If we go Majapahit, we might actually upgrade it to put a Pura here, just because a Pura will do really, really well with all of this coastal adjacency. But either way, Thera being coastal is excellent for us. This is, you know, we're pretty happy with this. We're just getting 4 culture out of this settlement. It is pretty strong. So, you know what, the maintenance on the Khoton is probably what it did it, because this town wasn't unhappy. But yeah, we incurred a happiness cost for the Khoton. Oh well. We've also got another settler in place. This is technically 11 tiles away from Pataliputra, so it will not be a forward settle. And it is kind of doubling up on this elephant that Rusticade captures, at least. But this is the kind of city that will... I mean, it gets 2 dates, which we love. It might be able to catch this quarry, or this gypsum, if no one else settles over it. It'll catch this fish, and then if this Saivash independent people gets cleared, it will catch one of the camels in the next stage. So I think this is going to be a really good settle. And we don't want to take it right now, just because our empire is dealing with... We want to build up a little bit more to absorb the unhappiness from settling from going to 9 out of 7 on the settlement limit, but we're pretty close to wanting to do that. So other than that, we're just you know, we're building Punic ports whenever we have the money to. We're still trading occasionally. We've pretty much stopped spending on our military. We're still able to just blindly support every endeavor, since it costs Himiko 0. This is really just such an excellent ability, and it synergizes with this... We're specifically trying not to get forward settle penalties, but we are effectively forward settling here. I'm going to have to recount this, because this looks so close to a forward settle that it's hard for me to believe. Yeah, but it is, no matter how many times I count it, it's 11 spaces away, so... Either way, that's hanging on there for now. Other than that, we're, like I said, we're just on autopilot. As towns get to the point that they've collected every resource that they could possibly collect, we're turning them into trade outposts. So you see we've got Hadramedum as a trade outpost here. Oh, and that's actually the only one right now. That might be the only one that's gotten every resource. But either way, that's what we're working on. And I think, ideally, we're probably going to end it on 9 settlements, which is going to get us enough military legacy points to get fealty, but it's actually going to keep our settlement limit low enough that we should be able to really, really quickly and aggressively start settling the distant lands and exploration, which is kind of the goal. And then, we've actually got Augustus here at the helpful status, so go ahead and form an alliance with him. And we should have done this first, but now that we've formed an alliance, we're going to see he is not at war with anybody. He's hostile with Xerxes, but everybody's hostile with Xerxes. So, and now that we've befriended Rome, as Carthage, you actually get a little narrative event when you befriend Rome. So we can grab a tradition slot, or we can grab 2 galleys. So these are both real good options. I usually end up going for the galleys, because that's usually the type of game I'm playing with Carthage, but since we're peaceful this game, and we've already dealt with most of the hostile independent peoples, we're just going to go for the extra tradition slot, and we will throw in... Oh man, we don't even have anything good to throw in right now. Oh well, we'll get policies to fill that out later. But yeah, so the Colosseum is finished, and now we're kind of just an endgame. You know, we're just clicking on technologies till we get enough codices. We have not, I believe... Yeah, I haven't actually researched Sicilian Wars 2, so we're going to start piling up codices that are going to be in the archive, since they don't have a place to be displayed, which will slow down our science slightly, but our science is actually doing remarkably well for Carthage on turn 75. I think this is probably the best science culture stat line I've ever had on Carthage on this turn, so super happy about that. And leaving the mastery on Sicilian Wars until the end of the game means that we can extend it a little bit longer without progressing the age for getting legacy points for the science tree, so that's what's going on there. As far as wonders, my general goal playing Carthage is to shoot for 4. So far, we're hopefully getting the Colosseum, and then Bursa should be a pretty easy follow-up, but our culture's been pretty high this game, and the enemies don't seem to be focusing on wonders, so we'll see how that goes. The economic one is complete already. We're Carthage. We get 3 of 3 economic, period. Unless you're getting warred out of the game, if you're playing Carthage, you should have a resource screen that looks kind of like this, which, you know, usually we get to the point where we have 21 resources slotted in Carthage alone. So, and then the military legacy, like I said, we're probably just going to stick at getting it to 2 points so that we can unlock the option to go for fealty, which fealty's all I really care about, honestly, out of the military legacies. Especially since I'm not actually conquering cities, so I'm not going to get any benefit out of spawning. What I think it gives you an infantry and a ranged unit. The military golden age that spawns enemies. Let's see. Oh, one thing that we're doing here, since our commander has the logistics promotion that gives him an extra gold for every unit that is packed onto them, we're just kind of collecting all of our defenders so that we can have a 6 gold commander here. Not the biggest deal, but, you know, while we're not fighting, there's no reason not to get some value off the commander, and that's how we've chosen to do it, is by letting them passively generate gold. So, I think, given that, like I said, we're pretty much on autopilot here, and we're just moving towards our victory conditions, I think I'm just going to cut it now, and return to you guys for like the last turn, or maybe the start of the crisis or something like that. I don't know. So if you've been watching this far, first of all, thank you so much for watching. It really just brings me so much joy that that anybody's watching and enjoying my content. I think that's the coolest thing, and it makes me feel real good. So I really, really appreciate all of you. So I've got 2 questions I'd like to ask y'all, if y'all wouldn't mind, you know, giving me some feedback in the comments and helping me out here. So my first question is, this map is kind of a god spawn, right? We spawned on Viren. We were able to pretty naturally expand to the Great Barrier Reef, and then we even got a Thera up here in the north that is kind of garbage land for anybody other than Carthage, who really likes to set up these massively connected hub cities that you can get from like tiny little coastal settles like this. So the first question I've got for you guys that I'd like feedback on: do y'all like seeing god spawns on the channel, or would you prefer that when I get a god spawn like this that I re-roll it and try to try to show you guys how to make these Carthage builds work in like suboptimal conditions. So that's my first question. And my second question for you guys that I'd like feedback on: how do you feel about me just up and skip it? You know, like I think that narratively it's fine for me to skip like the next 40 or 50 turns like that, but I just like you guys' thoughts on that. If you like the fact that the videos are a little bit shorter because I'm only showing like, you know, 7 or 8 recordings from various points in the game, or if you'd prefer to see, you know, more natural gameplay where I'm not pausing the recording. So anyway, yeah, thanks so much, and thanks in advance to anybody who decides to respond and help me out. I will catch you guys when we're ready to close this game out. Just wanted to stop in real quick to demonstrate something. So I pretty regularly, when I'm choosing my Pantheon, I take the Sacred Waters Pantheon, which gives me gives the altar happiness adjacency on coastal tiles. And this is the reason I really like that on Carthage. So you see here we've got this altar in our town that's just producing 7 happiness, which is just a lot of happiness. And all of our towns have like similarly big, you know, 5 happiness, 6 happiness. Let's see, where's my altar? Do I not have an altar in Hadrometum? Huh, I guess because I turned them into a trading town really early. But what it allows you to do is it allows you to be... You see here, I'm 2 whole settlements over the limit. I'm at 9 out of 7. So all of my... Every settlement in my empire is taking a negative 10 happiness penalty. Yet, because we have the Sacred Waters Pantheon on our altars, we've actually... we're actually not taking any unhappiness penalties. So that's why I like Sacred Waters, and that's why I take it pretty often. Because the way I look at it, Sacred Waters is basically just getting an extra settlement limit that you can buy if you can afford, you know, all of the altars you need to make it that strong. So, oh, we kind of got forward settled here too, which not super worried about given how well we're maintaining relations with everybody in this game. Honestly, if anything, I'm kind of happy that he settled this silver so that I can trade with him and get that silver. But yeah, so nothing new. We're still just kind of autopilot, building wonders in Carthage, building infrastructure in our towns whenever we have the gold to, and we've kind of been off sending traders lately. But I think what we're gonna do is once we've finished off the legacy paths that we want to finish off, so we're going for 2 military, 2 culture, 3 science, and 3 economic. We'll start just spamming traders with the goal of getting the master caravaner legacy in the exploration as high as possible. So anyway, I know this will be the second time I've said I'll see you guys on the last turn, but I'm going to say it again. See y'all on the last turn. Welcome back, y'all. We are here at the very beginning of turn 124, which is going to be the last turn of the game. So, as you can see, I've unlocked a future civic here, and this is the only future civic we're going to get this game, and we did manage to get any future techs, which could be considered a little weak overall for like antiquity civs, since it's usually not too hard to do on SimCity type civs. But I'm really happy with this with Carthage. This might be the first time I've had culture this good on Carthage and been able to get a future civ. So super happy with Himiko Carthage. It's working out pretty well. As far as wonders go, we managed to get 5. We picked up Oracle, which is a wonder. Humunga Amaui, which we love because it's a wonder and a cultural attribute point. Colosseum, which I think might be the best Carthage wonder in Antiquity Age. And actually, I say that, but I've also got Angkor Wat, which is undoubtedly the best Carthage landmark in Ancient Antiquity Age. And we also managed to pick up Weiyang Palace. So, this is actually the first one, too, that if I had, So I missed Bursa by exactly 1 turn, and I missed Gate of All Nations by exactly 1 turn. So if I had gone and, you know, save scummed a little bit, like when I lost the Wonder, reloaded 6 turns earlier or something like that, and slightly optimized my production, I might have actually been able to pull all 7 Wonders off on Carthage, which I've never done before, other than I did it on Augustus, but Augustus is a little bit easier based on all the culture and production he has. But the final score, and actually I need to make sure that I slot that last codex so that we finish up the science. So our final score is going to be 2 culture points, 2 military points, all 3 science points, and all 3 economy points, which feels pretty solid with a single future civic, and you know, we've got our reputation is everybody's happy with us across the board, which is actually kind of amazing, because like if we look at some of these diplomacy screens, Xerxes has got negative 90 reputation on me between his leader agenda and his borders touching, and somehow we're still at positive 40, which is, and you know, you're just going to see the same thing through all of the leaders. Augustus has us on plus 36, and we're 130 points in the hole with him as far as negative reputation goes. But just the fact that we've been spamming endeavors, and we've been accepting everybody's endeavor, or supporting everybody's endeavors, means that even though all of these people hate us because of their leader agenda and, you know, borders touching, and Augustus went to war with Xerxes, and I don't want to be at war with Xerxes, so we broke our alliance, which is kind of unfortunate, but that's the way it goes when the ally or the AI decides to declare war on each other late game. So this is I guess Ada was always going to be our friend, but everybody else has, you know, nearly 100 reason to hate us, and they're still all on like plus 40 reputation with us, which is just insane. So so yeah, that's going to be the end of the era, and what I'm going to do, we're going to go ahead and make a save here real quick. Wa ant 12, sure. And real quickly, we're just going to go through, so I mentioned at the very beginning that that the cultural attribute point that we got from our memento was really important. Though now that I mention it, I don't know if I want to show it off now, or if I just want to let that be a surprise for the start of the next video. I think that's actually what I'm going to do. So, that's where we are. We've got 10 legacy points to going into the next stage. We've got the almost full war chest of 3,000 gold, and we've got you know, our towns that are pretty much all fully built out. We didn't build granaries in a lot of them because granaries are bad. We should probably put that saw pit in Hippo's kind of space limited. Never mind. So the only production buildings we didn't build in our town were the saw pit and Hippo, and then Rusicade, which is our Thera city. We didn't want to waste any space on warehouse buildings in here. So overall, that's 150 science, 250 culture, 161 happiness per turn, and you know, over the settlement limit when we could technically be even further over the settlement limit. So that is where we are at the end of this Himiko Queen of Wa Carthage run. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. And as always, if you have any questions, or if there's any specific content you want to see in the future, I guess I'm based on my video posting history, I think I'm kind of establishing myself as a Carthage one-trick. So if there's any leader you want to see if I can make successful with Carthage, then go ahead and let me know in the comments, and I'll try to do that in the future. But other than that, I hope y'all have a wonderful day, and I will catch you next time you decide to tune into the channel. Bye-bye!